that, should we reflect on it with the Defence Secretary, John Healey? He's already up in Staffordshire, actually, at the National Memorial Arboretum. Good to see you this morning, Mr Healey. How do we reflect on something which, for most of us, of course, is beyond our memory, before our time?
It is before our time, but there are hundreds of families around the country that will have family members with memories of the Far East campaign, and it's a huge honour for me. I'll be alongside 30 VJ veterans today, probably one of the last anniversaries in which we will be able to pay a personal tribute to them for their sacrifice, but also to hear their stories. And they really were the greatest generation. They didn't just fight an enemy, they fought they fought jungle conditions, they fought tropical diseases, and they fought for survival in some brutal prisoner of war camps as well. And today's a moment for our nation to remember the ultimate sacrifice of British and Commonwealth soldiers, as the King did this morning, and to reflect on the lessons that can bring to us in today's world of uncertainty and conflict as well.
John, we spoke earlier on to your opposite number, James Cartledge, talking about how we look after modern-day service personnel. Do you think that you are doing a good job? We know that we have a dwindling number of troops. We have more civil servants in the MOD than we actually have troops on the ground at the moment. Do you think the future of defence is safe in Labour's hands?
Yeah, we're a government that backs our forces, we back defence. It's why we have made a commitment to the biggest increase in defence funding since the end of the Cold War. And as far as our armed forces go, for me, the defence policy starts and finishes with our armed forces personnel. We've started to improve support for our veterans. We managed to buy back 36,000 military family homes, so we can finally put an end to the scandal of substandard housing that's gone on for too long, and we're making sure that we work to reverse the long-term decline in the last 15 years that we've seen in our armed forces numbers, because in a world of increasing uncertainty and increasing risks, it demands a new era for defence, which is why we've made the commitment to defence, we've made the commitment to defence spending, we've made the commitment to the UK leading in NATO, and we've made above all the commitment to our armed forces for the future too.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Well, and that has to be welcomed, right? I mean, a lot of people will say it should be more and we want to increase it over the coming years. We know it's a tough call, a tough ask at the moment. But yeah, let's improve that support. But about veterans, we have a problem in this country. We don't treat veterans in the right way for whatever reason. Actually, on a purely personal point, I was recently invited to a dinner, a family dinner for veterans in a prison, which highlights how many veterans are ending up in prison. And that's a disgrace, isn't it? That's an absolute disgrace that the proportion of our prison population that are veterans is ridiculously high, all things considered.
Well, a couple of things sort of go together, really. The armed forces, without a doubt, sets people up for success in life. And the level of employment of those who've served in the forces is higher than the general population. But the damage and the difficulties that some who struggle with civilian life, whether that's with housing and homelessness, whether that's getting into trouble with the criminal justice system, often means that the problems are more intense and require the specialist support that too often in previous years has not been there. And so we're starting to put in place extra help for homeless veterans. We've got a special scheme for those that do fall foul of the justice system. And above all, we're looking to get a better level of veteran support across the country so that people aren't dependent on the postcode lottery, as it happens at the moment. Where they are depends on what may be available to them.
John, many of our viewers this morning are listening to you now and saying, well, you can't, Labour, this current government can't even defend our shores. We have a record number of illegal migrants coming across the channel in small boats. They don't trust you to stop that happening. What would you say to them?
Look, we know the scale of the challenge with the small boats. We've seen under the previous government 5-6 years where the smuggling gangs have established their systems and their networks, and we're starting to crack down on that. New legislation going through Parliament to give us anti-terror laws, a new border force command, and for the first time what the Conservatives previously talked about but never secured, which is the start of a returns agreement with France that means that for some of those migrants now coming across who are illegally in Britain, they are being detained and they will be returned to France, and they will not be able to stay in Britain just because they've come across in small boats. Small steps in a long-haul challenge, but we will get on top of it.
Do we have the right focus? Because a lot of what we hear from the government, and particularly from Keir Starmer, is this fight against the evil gangs. Right, I mean, you're not going to get a lot of argument against that, but the focus should be not just on the gangs, surely, but on those people who are paying the gangs to come here.
No, indeed, and that's why we're saying to the people who may be tempted to pay to the gangs, look, you come across in small boats, you're illegally here, you will be detained, you could be deported again to France, and it's why no one thing will solve this problem, and it's why, for instance, we've speeded up the decisions against appeals that have clogged the system up in recent years. It's why we've managed to increase by 25% the level of people who've been deported from Britain because they have no right to stay here in the last year alone.
John, on the one-in, one-out policy, which is the latest initiative from the Labour government, we have seen several hundred come into the country over the recent days. How many have gone back so far?
Look, it is a pilot. It's the first steps of something that we want to see become a bigger part of our look, it's early days and it's small steps. It's a part of the wider solution. But I just say to you, look, this is something that has been talked about by previous governments and previous ministers for years and not been secured. Yvette Cooper has now secured that. The government has it in place with France. You've started to see the French change their rules about being able to intervene in shallow waters as well to help stop people getting onto boats in the first place. These are all part of a bigger battle to stop not just the criminal smuggling gangs, but as you say, the individuals that are paying for this transit, thinking that they're going to get a passage to the UK and thinking that there is no jeopardy. We want them to think again.
Sorry to interrupt.
We want them to see
Can you
that
give us a rough timescale as to when we can stop seeing these boats coming across the channel? 1 month, 6 months, a year? How long are we talking?
Well, don't you think that over the recent years, people have got fed up with politicians from David Cameron onwards setting targets for bringing down the number of migrants or ending the small boats? We are doing what we need to do. We're not making any promises about when and how quickly, but we are giving the absolute commitment that we're dedicated to this job, and we will try and win the trust that you talked about
Just
in the
before we
British
let you
people. That we're a government that takes the security of our borders, the security of our nation seriously.
Just before we let you go, Minister, in an earlier interview you did this morning, you called Nigel Farage a Putin apologist. You can't be serious, can you?
Some of the statements that Nigel Farage has said in the past have sought to explain what Putin does, has sought to explain what Russia does. This is the moment, above all, when Putin is talking to Trump in Alaska, when the pressure must be on Putin to demonstrate that he is serious about peace, to scale back, not escalate, as he has been, the attacks on Ukraine. And we really require all political voices, including from Reform and Nigel Farage, to weigh in as strong as possible, condemning Putin, condemning the invasion in Ukraine, and we have not had that.
OK, look, we've been told that we have to leave it there from your side, but we appreciate your time, Minister. Thanks very much indeed. I should point out, this is...
Thank you very much.
This started, actually, 12 months or so ago, when people started saying Farage was an apologist, because what he was saying was the expansion of NATO, the expansion of the EU was poking the Russian bear.
Yes.
And that was causing problems. Yeah. Nigel Farage said at the time the invasion of Ukraine was immoral, outrageous and indefensible. Putin was entirely wrong. But I've made it clear on multiple occasions over the last 10 years, if you poke the Russian bear with a stick, don't be surprised if he responds.
I'm sorry, I think Nigel Farage is living rent-free in the Labour government's head. This is only a week after they put him on the same side as Jimmy Savile over the online safety bill.
Yeah, that didn't go down too well from either, did it?
No.